exactly where we left, and let's carry on the things. Things are going good. Just a quick reminder, our pop-up is working. Yours should be working now as well. Okay, that's good. Now, first of all, I would like to say that if you have stuck so far with me, then you are doing pretty much great, and I hope you are liking the course. Of course, you are a little bit liking it because otherwise you wouldn't have made it so far. Now, coming back onto the topic in here, what we want to do now, on is good. It is giving us the pop-up and giving us the auth result. It's not giving us the profile. So how we can get the profile? That's an interesting question. So the method is dot get profile. I'll just comment this out because getting the things in the console is not a good idea for an app that uses a login. So we're going to simply say this dot log, and the method is get profile that we'll be using. It takes two things. It takes ID token, and we can use a callback there. And where we are getting this ID token, if you remember in the auth result, which was an object, a big object, we were getting a ID token. Okay, so auth result dot ID token, this is what we were getting and what it requires. So this is the one thing, and it gives us a callback, and we'll use the fat arrow functions again. It can give us an error or it can give us a profile. We are expecting a profile, but hey, things are not always good. It may return us an error. So let's worry about the error first of all. And what I want to say is, let me just close this in here, is that if you get me an error, I'll handle you. That is good. So error, okay. And we're gonna just log the error, and we're gonna simply say, hey, whatever the error is, I want to find that out. And I'll just return from here. I'll not proceed. Okay, that is good. Now, in case it returns us a profile, I want to use a method there. I could have set it up here and could have written a long piece of code there, but I think it is not good. And by the way, this is too much of the space. I'd like to get rid of that. Okay, so as soon as I get in here, just after the return, first of all, let's see what's there in the profile. Okay, so let's just log the profile there. And there we go. Save that, and let's just see. Let's try to log in again, although we are already logged in, but I would like to open up my console and see what am I getting in here. So log in and get me there, and there we go. So we have, let me just expand that a little bit. And notice in this guy, we are getting a client ID, interesting, and email verified as false. We are getting an email as well. We are getting created name and picture as well. A gravatar is there. That's lovely, new to me. I haven't noticed that. So this is good. Now I want to set the data in the local storage, or kind of a session. So once the things are actually stored in the user's browser, then only he will be able to create a session and do things on. And obviously, whenever you open a new tab or just click on a link in the Gmail, you are not asked for the password again. Everything is stored in your browser there. So let's just comment that out. We don't need it now. And we'll be using a getter and setter there. So we'll be setting the profile data in here. So I'll be calling it as this dot, and this is going to be my setter. So I'll simply say set profile, and this set profile is going to take two parameters. The first one is going to be auth result dot ID token, that is going to be 1, and the second one is going to be profile. Okay, and that's it. Now obviously we haven't defined this set profile method, so we need to create that, and make sure you get completely out of this component will mount. I've seen this quite in a lot of boot camps. The student just go there and start writing a method inside a method, and obviously that is completely a mess in the debugging process. That's not acceptable. Okay, so let me just call this, copy this, and we will be calling this set profile. Okay, let's make it a function. There we go, should be happy now. Now in this set profile, so we want to set a couple of things in here. Obviously it's taking two things, the ID token and profile. So let's just make that so that it can accept two parameters, and one is going to be profile. Makes sense. Now, how do we use the local storage? Now, that's an interesting question, but to be honest, it's actually more than easy. You just have to call in local storage just like that, and there you go. You have access of the local storage without defining anything at the top, no importing at all. And you have to simply say set item. Okay, that's good. And you can create as many objects in here as you wish, but the only condition is it should be in the string. Okay, I hope you get that. You can set as many objects, but both of them should be in the string. So first of all, we are getting an ID token, which is in itself is a string. So set item ID token, there we go. And just use a comma there. This is the syntax, how you do that. It's gonna be simply ID token, whatever is coming up. Okay, Command Shift D to duplicate that line again. And what is the next thing that you want to set? Obviously profile. But in case you haven't noticed, that profile, whatever is coming, is an object. Look closely, this is an object. And you cannot store that because remember, I told you a rule just a second before that. So how you can mess around with the profile? We cannot do this. This is illegal in here. So we can wrap it around in case you have learned a function in the JavaScript known as stringify. So you can wrap around any JSON object using JSON.stringify, and yep, that's correct. So now it's a string, and now it's being converted and is being set. Now obviously this is not going to work because right now we have just stored it there, but we haven't set the state in here. Notice this state is still empty and we are going to query this state quite a lot of time. So exactly same things should be stored if you found anything in the local storage. Okay, I hope this makes sense. So now let's just set the state there, and we have done this quite hundreds of times. So set state, and we are gonna set this. This is gonna take an object, and there we go. We can put a semicolon there and ID token, and I would like to set them from the local storage. Now this is a typical classic mistake. People like to just do all of these things again and again. No, just check out the local storage. It will also help you later on to check out whether the user is logged out or not. So important in here. So let's just use a local storage, and just like we have set item, we have get item as well. Okay, and in the get item you can just name the key there. So it's gonna be ID token. That's one thing. And again, we can check set the profile as well, and the profile is going to be simply json.parse. And I would like to know in the comment section why I am doing a parse there. Notice the hint is since I'm using a stringify. Now I would like to love your views about in the Q&A section why I'm using a parse there. That is going to be a quick test. So in the parse, I'm going to simply say local storage dot get item, and the item key is profile. Okay, and I think that's it, and we have set the data so that user can be logged in there, and I think so far this is good for us. Now in order to make sure that the user is logged in, we need to get data as well. Okay, but I think we are doing so far good, and we need another movie because this was pretty heavy movie. I would agree on that as well. So far we are just setting the data what we are getting from the auth0. Okay, I hope this video was quite interesting for you, and make sure you take your time. These are things not easily grabbable by every new user. So take your time, understand this properly, and in case you have any question, post down in the Q&A section. Okay, and let's go into the next video and talk a little bit more about how we can access these properties and can find out that the user is logged in or not.